to our video today. So we are on our last video. This is our transatlantic crossing from New York City to Southampton, England. Here you can see the dance instructors are out there putting on another one of their show on another gala night. So this video is going to be a little bit different, guys. I don't really have a whole lot of story to tell as far as the videos go. What you're going to see is just kind of a hodgepodge of videos that I took. And a little bit later here on in the video, I'm going to give you my 2 cents about our cruise and our Cunard experience. So stand by for that.
What I came for, whatever long the one, Lord again. Take off your coat, don't you know you can win? With no exception to the rule, I'm irresistible, you fool. Give in, you'll never win. You're my pride, all alone, not
So a couple of times on this cruise, they would change the venue of the karaoke and they would put it in the G32 club. It's kind of a little club and disco. You're going to see in this where me and Christine are trying to perform here, it's just not as good. And I'm going to give you some reasons for that. Number one, the audio was terrible. You couldn't hardly hear the music, and the microphone was also turned down so low that you could hardly hear people sing. It was just a very awkward situation. Number two is they had one screen showing the lyrics, right? And if you need to use that screen, it puts your back to the crowd. So as you can see, Christine has a really difficult time working the crowd. You know, she wants to work it. You've seen her in some other videos, but it makes it very difficult to work the crowd and get that feedback when you're singing to say, hey, you know, am I doing a good job or not? It was very awkward, and we voiced our discontent with that because karaoke was one of the things on the ship that we enjoyed doing. And on Cunard, on this particular cruise, it was one of the few times on all the cruises that we have taken where we were comfortable enough to get out there many times and actually sing. We've been on other cruises with Celebrity and Royal Caribbean and even Virgin, and the crowd was just horrible. I mean, they were a tough crowd, I ain't gonna lie. And I get it. I'm not the best singer in the world. Christine's a lot better than me, but it was very intimidating. And when you did finally get out there, the people were they were hard, man. They were hard. It was a whole different environment on this particular cruise. When we were in the Golden Lion and we were in that crowd, man, it was a great time, and it was so comfortable to get up there and just sing your heart out.
This brand new tattoo, but it's a beauty, a Filipino cutie. How we got here, I haven't a clue. Wasting away again in Margaritaville, searching for my lost shaker of song. Some people claim that there's only one to blame. Well, I think, hell, it could be my fault.
As you can see here, we got into a little bit of weather. We were actually trying to skirt the southern end of a low pressure system as we crossed the Atlantic. And so the captain was doing a really good job keeping us out of the worst seas, but we still had some decent weather. And we got into a little bit of rough seas, but the Queen Mary II, being an ocean liner, she took it like a champ. Yes, you're going to feel some movement on the ship, but it's nothing compared to what you'd feel on a cruise ship. All right, guys, so at this point, I'm going to give you a little bit of feedback about what we felt and our opinions on Cunard and this cruise. We really enjoyed the cruise line. There were so many things that we enjoyed about it. And I admit, Cunard is not for everyone. It's not a big fun cruise ship with water slides and water parks, and it's definitely not for the kiddos. I mean, there were some children on board on this particular leg of our cruise, and they were having a good time, it seemed like. But it's not going to be your water parks and all that kind of stuff. It's more for the adult crowd. I mean, they have lectures, they have movie nights, they have all kinds of stuff that we didn't even participate in, and they will keep you busy. You won't get bored, I can promise you. The things we liked were some of the lectures. Christine kind of had a hard time with them because a lot of the lecturers were British and they were speaking with a British accent, and without having some subtitles, it was a little bit difficult for her to kind of understand their colloquialisms and the way they say things. So she kind of opted out on some of that. I went to some of the lectures and they were really good. I even bought a book on the ship where the author did a lecture, and it was really good. So there's lots of those if you enjoy that. One of the big things that we did almost every day, it was really almost every day, is we got up and we went to dance class. And that was a lot of fun, and it also gave us a little bit of exercise too, because on this transatlantic, they kept us locked inside quite a bit. We weren't even able to get out on the decks. It was cold, but sometimes, you just want to get out there and throw on a coat and go stroll around the promenade deck. Well, they didn't allow us to do that because the wind was so bad from the storm that we were trying to skirt. So for safety reasons, they couldn't let us go on. Now, one thing that we do love about Cunard is the whole old school cruising environment. We love that. The gala nights are really special. They do a good job making it a fun time, and it's always fun to get up and dress up, and even on the theme nights do it. I mean, you'll see later on we go to the 20s gala night. It was the last one on, and it was fun, dressing up like that. Everybody had a great time. And for us, the majority of our time down in the Philippines, we're wearing shorts and flip-flops and a t-shirt. We don't get dressed up. And so when we travel, it is nice to be able to, pack our nice clothes and go and dress up and just be something different than a beach bum, And that's why we enjoyed the Cunard experience, the old school dress up, have a good time kind of deal. Now, do you have to dress up every single night? No, you don't. You can go to dinner with just a nice shirt and some khaki pants or something like that on most nights. And then if you don't even want to do that, and that's in the Britannia, and if you don't even want to do that, you can just go eat at the buffet if you want to. And there was several nights we just ate in a buffet. Well, we didn't want to eat a 5-course meal. But one of the coolest things, and the reason I booked this trip, was the Queen Mary II is the last ocean liner. Well, and unless they build another one, she will be the last ocean liner. And I don't know if they will spend the money to build another ocean liner. So to be able to experience that, the Queen Mary, she's 20-something years old now. There was rumor on the ship that they were going to put her in for refit and maybe try to get some more years of use out of it. But, if you research a little bit about cruise ships, they don't they don't really get too much more than 20, 30 years of life out of those ships. And so I wanted to take a ride on this one before they retired her, or before it was too late and they never built another ocean liner again. And it was definitely the experience of a lifetime, especially to take a 26-day long cruise on her. It was incredible. And there was so many times that, we were just sitting around going, man, I can't believe we're on here, or we'd be down in the Caribbean and be looking at the ship, sitting at the port and go, man, I can't believe we're on that ship. It's such a beautiful ship, a pretty sexy ship. And for us to be able to experience that, we are very humbled and very grateful. Now, on this cruise, we definitely found our limit, our cruising limit. 26 days was a lot. It was a lot. And to kind of explain this a little bit further, let me break it down how Cunard does this on their long cruises. So the Queen Mary 2 routinely makes the transatlantic crossings, right? It goes from Southampton to New York City, and that is considered one voyage or one cruise. Then when it goes back to Southampton, that's considered a second one, a second voyage or a second cruise. And then whenever it goes from New York City down to the Caribbean and then back, that's considered a different voyage or a different cruise. So basically what we did is we took 3 voyages and they were just compiled into one 26-day cruise. However, whenever you're on the ship, you start seeing the repetitiveness. You start seeing the redundancy. You see different faces because, we got on the ship in Southampton and the majority of the passengers were Brits wanting to go over to New York City. A lot of those passengers, I would say probably the majority of the passengers got off the ship. They went to New York City and went on and probably flew back to England. But we pulled on a whole new crowd of people from America that got on the ship. There was a huge Asian crowd, and they were Chinese that got on the ship. And man, let me tell you something. There were some challenges with that some days. I ain't gonna lie. People can get rude sometimes, and they were good dancers. They were excellent dancers, but they were even running the people that had been, the everyday people that danced every single day. They flat ran them off the dance floor. So yeah, there was some challenges with that. But anyway, it was a whole different crowd. The good thing is when a whole new group of people come on, they've never seen what you're wearing, right? Because with the way Christine and I had to cruise and we had to travel, we were doing long haul flights. We were doing a lot of flights, even domestically in Europe. So we had to watch the weight of our luggage. And so we could only pack so much. Now, the cruise line itself, if you get on, let's say you live in New York City or you live in the United States and you want to take the transatlantic over to England and then take it back, you can pack a whole trunk with as much clothes as you want. The cruise line doesn't care. Just don't have anything that's forbidden in your luggage, and they're good. But with us, we had to pack very, very carefully. Especially if we were going to have some of our nice clothes for the gala nights, right? And so, yeah, you do start wearing the same clothes over and over again. Thank God they had a laundromat on the boat so we could clean our clothes and things like that. But the thing you start worrying about, especially the ladies, Christine did, is she's wearing dresses that she's already worn. And the good thing about it was a whole new crowd that came on when we got to New York City. And then when we got back to New York City and we went on the crossing back over to Southampton, it was the same deal. They offloaded all of those people. The majority of the people got off the ship. And then we picked up a whole new set of Americans that went over to England. And so, yeah, we had different eyes, and they were looking at us, and they didn't know that we'd been wearing the same clothes over and over again. You know, really, to be honest with you, nobody really cares. If you're worried about what you're wearing that much, trust me, you are not that significant in other people's lives. I can promise you. There might be some out there, but the majority of the people, they could care less about what you're wearing, and they wouldn't remember anyway. So to sum that up, we actually have 3 voyages where we combined all 3 of them into one trip, but we have 3 voyages on the books with Cunard. So yeah, if we were going to be loyal Cunard folks and all that kind of stuff and try to get, you know, I don't know, the perks or whatever, we're up to the 3 voyage class or whatever. I don't know. Now, with this redundancy, one thing that we did find is that a lot of the events, even the dance classes. Okay, so we learned like several dances on the crossing from Southampton to New York City, right? Like, for instance, the first one was the slow waltz, and then they would do the rumba, and then the tango, and so on and so forth. Well, after New York City, and we uploaded a new set of passengers, they started over again with the dance classes. Now, that was good for us because, especially me, I'm a slow learner. It enabled me to go back and go, okay, this is how we did it. And so by the time we got off, I at least learned, I'd been through dance classes for like 3 different times for all these dances. And so it was good for me because now I've got some basic steps down for some of these dances. It reinforced that, I guess. But it does become redundant. The food, especially in the main dining room, the food starts becoming redundant. You start having the same stuff over and over again. You start seeing the same stuff on the buffet over and over again. And I've never taken one of these repositioning cruises. I've never been on one before. But it may be the same way on those, where the food and the buffet and everything else, they start repeating it over and over again. But that would probably be the only way that I'm ever going to take anything more than about a 10 to 14 day cruise. It'll be a repositioning cruise where you're going from point A to point B. Let's say I'm going to go from Lisbon, Portugal, over to the United States or something like that. That'll be the only way that I take anything that long again. 26 days was just a little bit much. We found our limit on it. Did we still have fun? Absolutely, we had fun. From a vlogging standpoint, I'm sitting here going, man, I've already done these videos. I've done them over and over again. So how many times am I going to put myself up on the screen, and video myself singing Margaritaville? People's only going to want to watch that so many times. So I put my camera down. I didn't take my camera on this last leg of the journey. And I'm kind of regretting that because there was some cool things, and I wish I would have brought my camera a little bit more. But it's just that mental thing you get into, that everybody's seen this stuff. I don't really have any more to add, and so on. And there really was. So that's why this video is just kind of a hodgepodge of different clips. It's really all it is. Now, I'm going to give you guys my honest opinion on a few things here. And these are really minor issues in the grand scheme of things, right? I don't want to sound like a Debbie Downer or anything like that, but I'm going to give you my honest opinion. So Christine and I, we live in the Philippines, right? And the majority of our diet nowadays is, fresh fish, rice, fresh vegetables, things like that. We very rarely eat processed food. Whenever we were in Paris and Brussels and Amsterdam, well, a lot of the countries in Europe, they they got pretty strict regulations on their food, and they have less processed food than we do in America. Well, Cunard is owned by an American company. It's owned by Carnival. And so all the food on board is very Americanized. Let's put it that way. It's very highly processed. And after, 20 something days of eating that, actually, it didn't take that long. Almost immediately, as soon as we got on the ship, man, we were having, indigestion problems and things like that just from eating all the food. And it's good food. I mean, I'm not knocking the chefs or anything like that. It's just the quality of the food that they have to cook with. It's very highly processed, and it was killing us. It was tearing us up because we're not used to that. Now Americans getting on one of these ships, you're used to it. 5 years ago, I would have been used to it, but I'm not used to that kind of stuff anymore. And neither is Christine. And it was killing us. It was tearing us up. Just felt bloated all the time. And, it was bad. And so that was one of the big issues. And again, I'm not knocking the chefs. The food tasted great. It was good. It was all I could do to stay out of the desserts and stuff, but it was very highly processed. Now, here's an issue that I'm going to bring up, and it's more of a cultural thing. And most of you folks that are watching this, well, I don't know. I do have some Filipinos that watch this, and so I do kind of want to bring it up because it is about Filipino culture in a way. So I would say 2/3 of the crew on the Queen Mary 2 are Filipino. Excellent folks, great people. We enjoyed our time. You'll see, Mang Joe or Kuya Joe is what I called him. Kuya Joe, one of the bartenders, he was like the lead bartender at the Golden Lion. Absolutely wonderful. Took care of us. I mean, he had our drinks ready. As soon as he'd see us walk in the freaking door, he knew exactly how we wanted our margaritas, how we wanted our drinks, and he was already shaking them. Just a great individual. He kept us entertained. He was great to talk to. Just a wonderful human being. We enjoyed him, and we enjoyed a lot of the other staff, the bar staff that were Filipino. They took care of us like nobody's business. The restaurant staff, our lead waiter, he was Filipino. And he went out of his way. And I told him not to do this, but I know he did it. He was probably pulling food out of his own personal stash to make sure Christine had rice. To have something a little bit extra. Because he knows the food. He knows it's hard on Filipinos, So one of the few things on the menu that she found that she enjoyed was the salmon. Well, they didn't serve rice with it. They served like vegetables or something like that. Well, our lead waiter, and I forget his name, but he was great. He would bring her rice, and it made my Filipina happy every time to get to have some good rice with her fish. And that was one thing that I know that kept Christine sane on this cruise, being without, her food and having to eat Western food all this time. It was something that was good for her. So we had a great experience with most of the Filipino staff. Now here's one of the downsides is with the females, the Filipinas. It was a whole different story. And we didn't really have too many encounters with them. And one of the reasons why is they would avoid us. They would avoid us like the plague. There was a couple of them up in the Corinthia Lounge. There was one lady, and I forget her name. She was really good. She came and took care of us quite a bit. If she saw us, she'd come to bring us our drinks and so on. And she was great. But the rest of the Filipino staff, mainly in the buffet area, were absolutely horrible. They were terrible. And I'll tell you exactly what it was. It's the crab mentality. It's being celosa. It's being jealous. And, that's the only thing that we could figure out was because if anybody that knows us knows we don't put on airs. I mean, we can sit on the beach with the poorest of the poor here in the village and have a great time, and we can go have a good time with the Richie Rich or whatever on a cruise ship. We don't look at people like that. We judge people based on their character, based on how they treat us, not how much money they have or anything like that. And we treat everybody accordingly that way. We'll treat, we're going to give you the benefit of the doubt. And that's just the way me and Christine are. And we got to noticing that we were getting snubbed. In the buffet, a lot of times, yes, you can go and get your food, and then you can go over to the drink station and get your drinks. A lot of times in the morning, we wanted to use our beverage package and buy, and get a cappuccino or something like that. Well, a lot of the staff in there, I mean, they'd walk right by us, and we'd be trying to flag them down, and they just look the other way. They would literally look the other way if they saw us, trying to flag them down, or if we needed something. And it was the Filipinas that were doing it. And it became very apparent that they were avoiding us. And the only thing that we could figure out probably is that, they thought that Christine was something that she's not. That Christine thought that she was above them or something like that. And that is absolutely not the case. My wife is still the same Province girl that left the province when she was 21 years old, went to the United States, and then came back to the province. She's still the same girl. And it doesn't matter where we are, she doesn't change that. She is the most genuine person that you will ever meet. And so they were prejudging her. Bottom line, they were prejudging her. And so I've got some friends that are going to take a cruise. They just texted me this morning, as a matter of fact. And they're going to take a cruise down to the Caribbean. They live in the States, but his wife is Filipina. I'm very curious to find out if they experience the same thing, and I probably shouldn't have even mentioned this, but I know they're going to watch this video anyway, and it's a topic I was going to bring up. So I'm very curious if they experience something similar. So guys, would we recommend Cunard? Absolutely. If you want to experience that old Titanic, old school cruising, you've got to take a ride on a Cunard ship. You've got to do the Cunard experience. And it doesn't have to be the Queen Mary 2. You can be on the Queen Elizabeth or their newest ship, the Queen Anne. I think the other one's Queen Victoria. But find one of their ships, because you're going to run into the same experience on all of them. You're going to run into the afternoon tea, all that good stuff. I know it's not for everybody, but we enjoyed it, and we will definitely, if we have an opportunity, sail on Cunard again. I want to try one of their other ships, maybe here in Southeast Asia or something like that. So definitely recommend Cunard. Had a great experience, a great time. Is anything ever perfect? Probably not. And I'm giving you the good, the bad, and the ugly, but really there's just very little ugly to even talk about on this cruise and with this cruise line. We absolutely enjoyed ourselves.
Somewhere beyond the sea, she's there watching for me. If I could fly like birds on high into her arms, I'll go sailing. It's far beyond the star, it's near beyond the moon.
So I'm going to leave you guys with one more performance from Michael and Irina, and also some music from the band, the live band. That was always cool to watch. And just some of our goings on the last gala night. The ship actually arrived in Southampton like the day after this video was taken, and we got off the ship in Southampton, spent a night or two in Southampton, and then we moved on to our next spot on our itinerary, which is Nuremberg, Germany. So guys, stay tuned for further videos. I have got a bunch of them coming up. We have the last leg of our journey, and it's all European travels. So we're going to start in Nuremberg, then we're going to go to Zurich, Rome, Vienna, Prague, and then back to Paris for our long-haul flight back to Manila. So I've got a lot of good video for you guys to watch. I'm trying to edit at least one every day, so I've been really busy. But anyway, I hope you enjoy them as much as we enjoyed making them. So I appreciate you guys tuning in, and we'll catch you on the next one.
Won't someone help me find my task and make me